All right, so in the span of 1 week, there will be a total of 6 different banners available. And while that might seem overwhelming, I'm going to try and make it as clear as possible in terms of what you should be summoning on, depending on the different investment levels and if you're a spender, free to play. So basically, the different types of situations that I'm going to be bringing up and talking about is going to be if you're a new and returning player, for a free-to-play version. If you're a free-to-play day one, month one player, right? So what unit should you be looking for within these 6 banners? If you're looking to dupe 1 or 2 a unit, and if you are a big spender, right? What is the main thing that you should be kind of aiming towards? So starting tonight, right? Basically a couple hours after this video will go live on SEA, not global, on SEA. There will be the 4 rerun banners available, and then next week there will be NELLIEL. I just made my NELLIEL kit video, and check that out if you want a bit more complete information on what NELLIEL is going to be doing. She looks pretty much as good or better than AIZEN. So essentially, these rerun banners are going to share all 1 pity with the new rate up. So I think it should be in update details, right? No, it's an event notice. So the reruns are going to be the same 80 pity, right? Guaranteed, right? All the same stuff. Even the weapons are returning. I don't know how they're going to make it look, right? But we'll see tonight. So check out that video if you actually do want to see that. But essentially, I think you could just swap from banner to banner. And if you summon on KENPACHI, then go to Toshiro. The pity's going to stay. And if you summon on Toshiro, get him. And there's like 3 pity. That's also going to stay for NELLIEL. So it's all the same pity between the weapon and character banners, like in Wuthering Waves, Genshin, all that good stuff. So essentially, the units returning is going to be AIZEN, Gin, Bankai Ichigo, and Toshiro. If you're looking to save on money with the release of the reruns and with NELLIEL, I'm recommending to you to use LD Shop to buy your packs. Looking to get the Double Jade reset packs, or even some of the other ticket packs, or just any of the packs in the game, using LD Shop will be able to give you a discount, and there is a lot to spend. And I think now people are much more open to actually spending on Bleach Soul Resonance, since we see how good they're doing, and using a vendor is what will be able to save you some money. LD Shop is a part of LD Player, and LD Player is actually partnered as the kind of official emulator for Bleach Soul Resonance. Now, it actually is pretty safe because you basically just work through the web store for the most part. Like, all I needed to put for mine was the UID, so literally just, it's pretty accessible by anyone, and then afterwards it's gonna work. Now, for the global version, it works for both SCA, the version I'm on, and global, so you can buy on both, and it's gonna give you discounts off the bat, but there are other discounts that you could get in LD Shop. So for BSR, you could save up to 23% on what you spend. Now, as you can see, for newly registered users, you're going to be able to get a 15% off coupon and another 5%. Definitely use my link down below for the exclusive 5% discount, which I would greatly appreciate it also. And as you can see, also on top of that, you can invite friends and get another 15%. So I'm going to leave the link down below for you guys to actually go down to LD Shop. I think if you are a spender, it's great, and it works through the web store, so it is safe. Now, just to show, basically for SEA in specific, you're going to be able to put in your UID, then click the one you want. For example, I'll get the monthly pass. Why not? Top up. Then afterwards, I'm gonna pay now, and after paying, I mean, very simple. It's going to be there, and this is all live. So let's go back in game, and you can see that I did actually get the monthly literally seconds after. And this was also pretty funny. I didn't even know, but because I spent over $80, I actually do get the monthly pass for free. So every month you're going to be able, if you spend more than 80 bucks, to get the monthly pass for free. So I think that's another added bonus that's going to be pretty nice. And hey, because it's for every month, that's going to be something you can get every month for free without technically needing to spend on it. So definitely, if you want to get some packs at a cheaper price, use my link in the description and pinned comment down below to go to LD Shop and get everything you need. You could either ping me in the community Discord or also ask me in the comments down below any questions you might have. So I'm going to do a little recap for all the units, and then tomorrow or the day after, sometime soon, I'm going to basically do gameplay for all the units in one video as a showcase. And the main reason is just because, like, some people want to summon just for how fun they are, right, instead of actual strength. So I'm going to showcase all of them so that you guys can get a sense for what exactly you'd want to summon for if you're looking for a certain type of play style. And that's completely fine too, right? There is nothing wrong with summoning on the units you want. You're not really going to miss out on too much, but I think that you should try and build a solid base for your account and make sure that every team is built. Obviously, Strike, we're getting our first Strike unit only in 3 weeks, or technically 4 with Grimmjow, so keep that in mind. So let's do a quick summary for every unit in order. So Bankai Ichigo, pretty much a spammer, stays on field, could swap off. He activates his technique. That's pretty much all he does. He goes into his ult, stronger damage, and then he pops his ult, does a big nuke. And even that big nuke isn't too crazy. He's already been kind of aged out by KENPACHI. And, you know, he doesn't work too well with the overall teammates because he's basically just trying to stay in field a lot, which I guess works well with Byakuya, but you don't really want to work well with Byakuya in the first place, so it's not really something important. Basically, very easy to build in terms of crit rate and all that, but he's basically just a spammer on field. There's really not much more to that. Now, Toshiro, a bit more complex. You could see that they were starting to find their footing. Toshiro basically works to where you're going to be using his technique, and that's going to chain into his Tensho Jurin basic attack, or enhanced skill, basically. And after that, you go into his ult, and in his ult, you do some basic attacks, and then very similarly, you pop his Bankai ult, right? And then you're going to get out of it. He works well with AIZEN. AIZEN makes him do his manual counter, and that lets Toshiro immediately do his Tensho Jurin, which cannot be interrupted. And he also has some freeze, which can work nice with Rukia in that sense. You do need dupes for his crit rate to not feel that bad, and especially if you're a new player, it could be rough without Momo, but damage-wise, he is looking pretty good. Definitely one of the better units at max dupes. Then afterwards, we got, of course, the GOAT AIZEN. Still amazing. Even with NELLIEL, they didn't want to power creep AIZEN yet. I would say they're at a pretty comparable strength level, but of course, I would say Nell is maybe slightly better in some regards, and obviously better with Gin now. AIZEN lets units do manual counterattacks when he uses his battlefield skill. I would say, like, you know, people maybe play him a bit too much on field, but he's very easy to play off field, especially with Gin and KENPACHI. It's a very nice, there's very nice rotations involved. He's doing very good damage B0, but mainly B4 onwards, right? But even B0, he's great. And he's got some very nice buffs. But the main thing is really that manual counterattack, which NELLIEL also has, is so strong. Then we got Gin. Very strong unit, and NELLIEL is also going to be extremely good with Gin. They really made it to where you want to run Gin. Like, Gin's best partner is NELLIEL, NELLIEL's best partner is Gin. He works basically to where you use your techniques, you do a bunch of charge attacks, and off field, he could do damage through his ailment, where basically if other teammates do damage with certain attacks, he's going to actually do ailment damage via those attacks, and it does become very big damage through the impale. And then his ult is just a very strong nuke, right? That's, if you have dupes, could refresh his technique points and all that. Then after Gin, we got KENPACHI. Very strong quick swap unit after the buffs. I would say it was basically, just to kind of make sure it's clear, I'm pretty sure KENPACHI, the main thing that happened with him is that he was rushed because, one, they already said that, right? That he was kind of like a replacement, because Grimmjow was supposed to come out, wasn't approved by Shueisha. NELLIEL wasn't done, and they're like, fuck it, we have to send KENPACHI out now. And that's why his kit was underwhelming at launch, right? At launch, it was like comparable to Bankai Ichigo, but now it's like it's night and day. So this guy's very strong for quick swapping, does a lot of damage when he is on field, and is able to get a lot of spiritual pressure through his charge attacks. Everything about his kit is quick swappable. And then when you're in his ult, you basically just spam his basic attack, do a shitload of damage, and then afterwards ult for a bunch of damage. And basically he is an ailment DPS also. So those are all the units we have currently. Then there is NELLIEL, which is the final unit that we will be getting next week. Now, NELLIEL is going to be a thrust tactic unit that's going to be working with KENPACHI, Gin, and most likely Grimmjow, if Grimmjow is ailment, which most people are saying he is. The leaks currently say he is, but could it change? Yes, so keep that in mind. But I would say it is very likely that Grimmjow does become an L1 DPS. She is going to be doing some heals and also has that manual counterattack. And same like AIZEN, they both have like these mono buffs. AIZEN gives for spirit, NELLIEL gives for thrust. And essentially outside of her ult, she's going to be more of a supportive role. And then inside of her ult, she basically becomes a main DPS, and that works very well with Gin because Gin also does a lot of damage off field via his impale scale. So yeah, that's how she's going to end up working. She's going to be giving some crit damage buffs with dupes. She's going to be an ailment buffer, and also she's going to lower the enemy's ailment resist, which means you're going to do more damage with the ailment. So that's why she's good with KENPACHI and Gin. But yeah, very strong unit from what we see right now. Obviously her kit can change, but we're going to assume that most things we see are going to stay rather the same. That's for the sake of this video. So yeah, that's basically all the units recapped. So let's talk about for new and returning players. I'm going to put timestamps for all of these. However, before we get into that discussion, I'm just going to talk about all the pulls we could get to kind of plan accordingly to see what you want to do if you're free to play, low spend, or whatever. So essentially, we are going to be getting an SSR selector. So I would recommend getting a new unit. We're going to be getting 20 limited pulls for character and weapons starting this week. We're going to be getting 2,600 jades, and then next week we're going to be getting 10 limited pulls, 5 of each, and then 4750 jades. If we go into the amount of pulls, we're going to be getting 20 character, 20 weapon, 2600 jades. Then we got another 10 plus 4750 jades. And from permanent sources from daily missions, co-op campaign, and Frenzy Feast, above level 65, you could expect 4200 jades, which in total is going to put you at 122 pulls. Then with monthly reset tickets in the exchange shop, that's going to be 126. And then with week 3, I could average probably at least up to 135. Then there's mini sources. There's also a new game mode coming next week, which is going to put you up to about 139. And then advanced tickets is going to bring you up to 150 about, right? Obviously that could vary very slightly, but keep in mind that advanced tickets, you're going to be getting them a lot. So yeah, and then also we're getting a lot of standard pulls, so that's going to give you even more, to where before NELLIEL leaves, expect to have about 150 pulls for all the banners. KENPACHI leaves next week, but the other banners will be out for another 3 weeks, and then NELLIEL, she's going to leave in 4 weeks. So keep that in mind. 150, in my opinion, is very good considering we already have, like, from KENPACHI to NELLIEL's patch, I think we're getting roughly 240 to 250 pulls, which is quite incredible if I'm going to be completely honest, to get 250 pulls in 6 weeks. It's really good. That is very good. And maybe we get more, but for right now, that's pretty much the minimum of what I'm expecting. So let's talk about for returning and free-to-play players. So also keep in mind that returning and free-to-play players are getting more jades, so that might actually change your plans a bit. I'm pretty sure returning events are going to be giving 7,000 jades, which we're going to see tonight. So I'm not really going to talk about that too much. But essentially, I would say the main targets are 3 units in specific. It's going to be KENPACHI, AIZEN, and then NELLIEL. Those are the 3 units I think you're going to want. And my opinion is because of this. So first strike, right now, there's not really any options. So, you know, already you could probably just get the SSR selectors and be good with your Orochi or Sajin, right? That's kind of my thoughts on that. We have 3 selectors available, and, you know, keep in mind, you could probably get 5 out of 6 of the standard units, so I would get 2 of these, because you're going to pity minimum 3 SSRs, which means it's going to be hard for you to pull the same one 3 times, and then after that, you could work on the selectors. That's how I would go about it. So for strike, you got that. Then for slash, you're going to have KENPACHI, and the thing is with KENPACHI, my thoughts on him is that if we got it ready a second slash DPS, I find it hard they're going to power creep again soon. So KENPACHI should have a pretty strong lifespan to where I would recommend you guys actually get KENPACHI. And he's going to work well with NELLIEL. Then we got Spirit with AIZEN. So obviously B0 AIZEN isn't going to be anything crazy, but I would still say it's better than having to pull another raid up with another weapon stamp, right? So you could work on AIZEN, and then afterwards, if you had Momo from the events when she was out, if you play with Toshiro, or if you pull her on standard or like on just unfeatured, right, then you could run a Momo Kisuke team with AIZEN, and that should work fine enough. Or you could run Ururu if you really feel like it. And then with Thrust, you would have NELLIEL, and then you could run Gikku. And if you get a bunch of the standard units, you could run Ikkaku because he is an ailment unit, so it would still work and help proc some of NELLIEL's kit parts, right? So I would say you could go for B0 with A1 weapon with like no dupe weapon, so just 1 copy of each for AIZEN, NELLIEL, and KENPACHI, and then you would have basically all 4 typings ready, and then next you would be able to get Grimmjow, right? So that probably is what I would do, basically target KENPACHI for the next week if you're returning or whatever, and then afterwards focus on AIZEN and NELLIEL. NELLIEL also is somewhat of a main DPS insider ult, so you don't really need Gain if you're like just starting and there's only so much you could do. Now if you want or have more pulls available if you get lucky, then you could definitely work on Gain. That's my opinion. I would say that it is a skip angle for both Toshiro and Bankai Ichigo, at least for right now. Probably you could just like get them in the future if need be. So if you are free to play day 1 or month 1 players, right? So I would say that, you know, if you're still undecided for KENPACHI, I would say if you have Bankai Ichigo, still skip KENPACHI, right? KENPACHI's great. I'm not going to deny that. He's probably tied for best DPS. Gin might beat him just because of the fact that now NELLIEL is going to make Gin way better, right? But the thing is that it's just value-wise, I don't think it's still worth to get another slash DPS. So I would say just make sure you have one, not both. And for NELLIEL, personally, I think that, you know, I'm going to make a full video on this, but for NELLIEL, I think it is really just a pull angle for everyone. She's going to be very strong with Gin and KENPACHI, and if you have either of the two, that's a big W. And then with Grimmjow, it seems she's also going to be best in slot with Grimmjow as a tactic. So 3 units she works with, very strong. And she does good damage on her own. So, like, if you have KENPACHI, then you're like, I want Grimmjow, and you don't care about Gin, well, good for you. NELLIEL is going to work. So I would say that NELLIEL is a pull. She's very strong. And if you don't have Gin especially, hell, even if you don't have Gin, she's going to probably work as a very strong DPS for her own typing because of her alt form, right? In the horse form, right? She seems to be doing a lot of damage. So well, that's more of a to be determined, but I'd say she is quite worth it. So then afterwards, if you want to partner with NELLIEL, the best one is definitely Gin. Like, let's say you're a diehard NELLIEL fan and you really want to make her team strong. Gin is great because Nell wants, Nell basically is going to be able to do a lot of ailments, and Gin is going to be able to utilize that for impale skill, and they're going to kind of help each other activate their ailments, and it's very good, right? Kisuke also is going to be very strong with this team just because of how he works to be able to proc Gin's impale skills. So Gin is definitely the best partner, but KENPACHI is like just lagging behind, right? Now, if you don't care about either, like I said, Grimmjow, as of right now, does have an ailment kit, right? So because of that, Grimmjow will work with NELLIEL, but that is obviously with the current kit. Could it change? Yes, but as of right now, it is an ailment kit that we've got looking on Grimmjow. So keep that in mind. Could that change? Yes, but I'm going to assume it won't really, in my opinion. Now, afterwards, I would still say if you don't have Toshiro yet, he is a skip angle. I just feel like soon enough, like within the next 3 to 4 months, we're going to get a Spirit DPS. And I would say at that point, just wait, right? At a certain point, you have to skip some units just to make sure other units could either have dupes in them or to make sure you get all the units that are attractive. I think it's always better to be a bit wary about your pulls, but make sure you definitely do get AIZEN, in my opinion. Now, the final thing is if you do like vertical investment, right, and you've skipped enough units to be able to get this, right, I would say if you skipped 1 or 2 units, then it is possible you do want to go for B2 NELLIEL because it is extremely strong. Now, this is really not for everyone. Like, if you've been pulling on everyone, then I respect it, right? I do respect it. But NELLIEL's B2 is giving a 80% crit damage buff, right? It gives 4. Now, this could change, obviously. So maybe next week we see that it's not there. Obviously, I would recommend waiting for my video discussing her pull value before summoning, right? Some people were pissed when KENPACHI was underwhelming and they already pulled. So I would just recommend, just in case, right, to wait for my video, then see what's up, or read her kit to make sure that things didn't change. But 80% crit damage is extremely strong, right? AIZEN's giving 50% crit damage, but that's at a max dupe core stamp, which not everyone has, right? Especially free to play. But this B2, I think, is possible for some units. If you for some players, if you skipped KENPACHI and you have Gin, then it might be worth it to actually get this. 80% crit damage. What you also have to keep in mind is the other strong point about it is that's also going to be giving Kisuke more crit damage to where his ult is going to be even stronger now. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And this is also going to make NELLIEL a stronger DPS. So yeah, this is going to be very good for Gin and most likely Grimmjow too. I mean, who doesn't want 80% crit damage? So, and also the thrust. If you have Gin, I think that, and if you have Gin, you skip KENPACHI, B1, B2 is going to be such an insane boost for the team. But this is something that you could probably wait on. I'm just saying it is an option, and I think it is maybe worth it. However, and you know, the other thing is 100-day, we're probably going to get some rewards for 100-day celebration, and also Half Annie is like, I would, what, 2.5 months after that? So it's like we got a lot of different points in time where there's going to be some stuff that you could definitely get. But if there's units that you're like, okay, maybe I want to save for more units in the future, then that's completely fine, right? I'm just saying that this B2 is probably the, like, it's very strong. I would say it's definitely better than AIZEN's. But I don't think it's for everyone, but some people definitely could make good use out of it. And this is something that just for now, it's food for thought. But in a week from now, we'll discuss this more concretely because that 80% crit damage, it's a lot. It's a lot. It is a lot. Okay. It is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay. But yeah, I would say like if you don't have Bankai Ichigo or Toshiro, yeah, just fucking skip their asses. Okay. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I don't, unless you like them, of course, right? This is a video for people who care about the value, but if you don't really give a fuck about them, skip both of them, and then, you know, decide how you want to do for KENPACHI. Because, like, you know, if you have Bankai Ichigo, then you can skip Kenny. If you have Kenny, then obviously skip Bankai Ichigo without a second thought. It's just like, obviously now they're making it that it's like they're kind of branching off these teams because NELLIEL seems like she's going to be very strong and I think worth it. But AIZEN still exists. It's just now they are starting to do it to where it's like you kind of do want 3 teams, but it's not really forced on you. It's just for ranking, so it's more of a whale thing. But you do want 3 teams because there's 3 bosses, right? And it's possible the new game mode we get to next week, the new challenge game mode might require other things. So that's obviously something that's going to come into the equation. So keep that also in mind. Now, if you're looking to dupe 1 or 2 a unit, I think the strongest dupe 1, in my opinion, is AIZEN's, because AIZEN's is basically going to let you get those battlefield skills a lot quicker. And I mean a lot quicker. I mean, it's a 50% battlefield skill energy increase. And also he's going to be able to get complete suppression right away, which is overall just the rotations get a lot quicker. Damage increases a lot because he's getting his battlefield skill more, which is how he does most of his damage. So if you're looking for B1, I would definitely recommend his the most. However, for a B2 angle, if you have all the units, you're like, which B2 should I get? I would honestly say personally that the best one, I mean, I already said it, is NELLIEL. So if you're like really fiending for a B2, NELLIEL is giving 80% crit damage for now. That could change. And the other one would be KENPACHI's. Once KENPACHI hits B2, he becomes a demon, right? 60% element damage, he's going to get 30% crit rate, which means he has 30% crit rate on his B2 and 20% crit rate on his core stamp, which means he baseline has 50% crit damage, which is ridiculously strong, right? So I would definitely say that for just KENPACHI, he is really good at B2. Now, if you are a Toshiro enjoyer, just to throw this in here, to really make use of him, right, B2 is what you also need because that gives 40% crit rate. But we'll talk about that more in the, well, I guess right after this. But I would say that B1 AIZEN, just if you're just like, okay, I have a bit of extra pulls, I would recommend B1 AIZEN. I think B1 AIZEN is the best B1 in the game. Bankai Ichigo, just obviously underwhelming. No, Toshiro's is like, it's okay. It's not insane. KENPACHI's was good before the buff, but now it's like just it was really good before. Now it's good. Gin, I don't know. I feel like if you're not going for B4, just don't dupe him out. Like this helps with his rotations, but this B4 is just, I think, one of the craziest dupes ever. It's just before that, I'm like, hell, probably even go more for the weapon dupes, if anything, right? It really is just like KENPACHI and AIZEN that really profit from some of the lower dupes, right? And Toshiro, to be fair, but Toshiro, I don't know. He's good, but I do see him getting power crept, right? I really do. He's already kind of like falling off, and now with NELLIEL, especially buffing KENPACHI and Gin more, like, poor Toshiro, man, for real. So if you got a lot of pulls to spend, but obviously you're not maxing everyone out, I would honestly do a B4 AIZEN, right? Because he's going to be doing a lot more damage. He's going to do defense shred, and this is definitely going to be very strong. This defense shred is crazy. Like, he becomes a main DPS at this point, like a true main DPS, like doing main DPS levels of damage. So I would say, like, go for, like, B4 AIZEN, right? And, like, afterwards. Because, like, you know, thing is, I could say, like, go for B6, but if you're going for B6, like, at a certain point, I could imagine that if you're going for one B6, you're going for multiple B6s, and, you know, you don't really need me to tell you what to do, right? But a B4 is definitely the way to go. Besides that, a B2 KENPACHI, after B2, you would instead go for dupes on KENPACHI's weapon, because his weapon is crazy, and you're going to have enough crit rate to really make use of the second part, which could usually be like 30% of his damage, which is ridiculous, right? And like I said, like B4 Gin is really that crazy spike to where only B4 is really necessary for that, right? Toshiro, the best thing to do for him is B2 and then A5 the weapon. The reason is if you have B2 A5, you're going to have 100% crit rate without even having any crit rate in his gear, right? Because this is going to get 40% and this is going to be giving 60% at max dupe. So you're going to have 100% crit rate. He's going to crit every time, and you could full on invest into crit damage, and his damage is going to be really high if you're going for that angle. I think I'm going to probably get this A5 and then maybe go for dupes. They're not that crazy, but this B6 is like, bro, it is really crazy. And Bankai Ichigo, I mean, I could talk about him, but I don't really care, right? I just don't. I mean, you would want to get that weapon duped out for sure. I think this B2, like B1, B2 is nice, but it's like, I think you're just wasting your money if you go for him at this point. Obviously, if you like him, go ahead. I can't, in my, like, I just can't recommend it if I'm being completely honest, right? I would say that like the best dupes to invest into is really AIZEN B1, B4, KENPACHI B2 A5. It's B2 A5 and then it's just B6, right? That's really it. Gin B4 is really strong. Toshiro B2 A5 or B6 A5 are very good. And then right now, NELLIEL like B2 is insanely strong. B4 is going to make her into a main DPS, I'm going to guess, like AIZEN. It's mainly because this crit rate is going to help her a lot. 20% crit rate is going to help a lot. But obviously, we'll need to see how exactly she works and all that. Some values we are missing. And maybe this B6 is crazier than I'm imagining. But it's just these like gameplay type of like changes. It's hard to kind of value or like place a direct value until we get in game where it's like, oh yeah, she gives 80% crit damage. Obviously, we know how much value that gives, but until we actually use her, see her rotations, we don't know how crazy these kind of rotation changing dupes are, right? Because I could easily tell you, like before AIZEN came out, if I saw this, right? If I saw this B1, I could not tell you if that was like insane or not. But now I could tell you it is insane because we actually played with them for such a long time. So that's why we have to see for NELLIEL when she comes out. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the dupe levels. Obviously, if you're a whale, just go crazy. But, you know, I would stop at the dupe levels I mentioned. And, you know, Bankai Ichigo, no matter what, is a skip, right? That's basically it. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, we're going to get some more info. Cool reset, nice. We'll get some more info tonight, next week and all that. But I would say that, you know, KENPACHI does have a lot of value. NELLIEL could solo pretty much thrust. And like it really is like KENPACHI, AIZEN, NELLIEL are like the 3 units you really want. And after that, I would say like it's up to you what else you get. But, you know, I would say that just play for the units you want. And after that, if you care about value, maybe you could look a bit into that, ask around, see what's up. But I don't really have much more to say than that. That's my thoughts on like who you should really be summoning for at all these different dupe levels. Let me know what you guys think. Who are you summoning for? Are you going to be spending a lot? Let me know. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.